High above
losing
the
power.
clouds, 30,000 feet over enemy skies,
Try to
the
pull up.
air is freezing, the noise deafening, and death is never more than seconds away. Inside the B-29 Superfortress, America's most advanced bomber of World War II, men were asked to endure a cursed mission unlike any other. The sleek silver giant was hailed as unstoppable, but for the crews inside, it became a flying coffin. Here's the dark truth. During the height of the Pacific Campaign, as many as 1 in 3 B-29 crewmen never returned. Some were swallowed by firestorms. Others drifted into the Pacific in burning wreckage. Many simply vanished, missing in action, their fate never known. Imagine strapping into a machine carrying 20,000 pounds of bombs, knowing Japanese fighters, flak cannons, and mechanical failure were waiting to tear it apart. Imagine flying for 14 hours straight over endless ocean, with the constant reminder, if you went down, no one would ever find you. They were young, barely 19, 20 years old, yet entrusted with one of the deadliest jobs of the war. They laughed, smoked, and prayed together, but every mission was a roll of the dice with death. So what really happened to these cursed crews? What horrors did they endure inside the B-29? And why were their chances of survival so slim? Stay with me, because what you're about to hear is far darker than the history books ever told you. The story of the B-29 begins in 1944. The war in Europe was nearly over. But in the Pacific, Japan remained defiant. America needed a weapon that could carry destruction across thousands of miles of ocean. The answer was the Boeing B-29 Superfortress, the largest, most advanced bomber of its time. At over 100 feet long with a wingspan of 141 feet, the B-29 was a technological marvel. It had pressurized cabins, remote-controlled gun turrets, and could fly higher and farther than any bomber before it. To the generals, it looked like a war-winning weapon. But for the men inside, it became a nightmare. Each crew consisted of 11 men, a pilot, co-pilot, bombardier, navigator, flight engineer, gunners, and radio operators. They were barely out of high school, many not even old enough to legally drink, yet entrusted with a $3 million machine and the lives of every man on board. They were sent to isolated Pacific islands like Tinian, Saipan, and Guam, barren volcanic landscapes turned into makeshift air bases. The missions were brutal, up to 16 hours long, with takeoff alone requiring nearly 9,000 feet of runway. Even before facing the enemy, the odds were terrifying. The B-29 engines, massive Wright R-3350s, were prone to overheating. Entire planes exploded on the runway or caught fire mid-air, killing crews before they even reached combat. For those who made it to Japan, the danger only escalated. Flak batteries pounded the bombers with deadly accuracy. Japanese Zero and Kai-84 fighters swarmed in relentless waves, aiming to tear the lumbering bombers apart. The men felt trapped inside. The pressurized cabins meant that if the fuselage was punctured, explosive decompression could kill instantly. Oxygen masks froze to their faces at 30,000 feet. Every mission carried whispers of curses that the B-29 was too big, too flawed, too deadly to the men who flew it. Still, they went. Because that was their job. And for many, it was a job they would never return from. The horrors of flying in a B-29 grew worse with each mission. Long before the atomic bomb runs, the B-29 crews were already fighting for survival. The first missions over Japan proved disastrous. Precision bombing from high altitudes was nearly impossible. Jet streams tore bombs off course, and flak shredded formations. Crews described looking out the windows and watching neighboring bombers burst into fireballs, their friends disappearing in seconds. Then came the nighttime incendiary raids. General Curtis LeMay ordered low-altitude firebombing runs over Japanese cities. This meant stripping bombers of their defensive guns to carry more incendiaries. Crews now flew in near darkness, skimming just above rooftops while anti-aircraft fire rained. Upward and enemy fighters tore through formations. Survivors described seeing cities beneath them erupt into infernos. a sea of flames so intense that rising heat shook the bombers violently. Entire crews gagged on the smell of burning flesh drifting up through the bomb bay. They were forced to keep flying straight, even as the glow below revealed their silhouettes to enemy gunners. The psychological toll was immense. Every mission felt cursed. Men would stare at empty bunks in the barracks. Bunks that belonged to friends who hadn't returned. Some broke down mid-flight, screaming uncontrollably. Others went silent, convinced each mission would be their last. By 1945, attrition was staggering. Entire crews vanished without a trace into the Pacific. If a bomber ditched at sea, survival time was counted in minutes. Sharks circled. Rescue was rare, yet still the missions continued. Crews flew up to 35 times, each flight stacking the odds higher against them. They joked, they smoked, they played cards between raids. But deep down, they knew the B-29 was not just a bomber. For them, it was a death sentence. And then came the moment that changed everything and sealed the B-29's place in history forever. August 6, 1945. A single B-29 named Enola Gay lifted off from Tinian. Its mission, to carry a weapon unlike any ever seen before, the atomic bomb. For the crew, it was a strange silence. No swarm of escorts, no massive formation, just one plane carrying the deadliest payload in human history. They flew in eerie calm, unaware that within hours, their names would be forever tied to horror. When the bomb detonated over Hiroshima, the crew felt the shockwave even from miles away. Below them, a city was erased in seconds. Tens of thousands died instantly. Black smoke rose into a mushroom cloud, a sight so unnatural it left even hardened crewmen speechless. But here's the haunting truth. While the Enola Gay's crew survived, thousands of other B-29 crews never did. For every atomic mission remembered in history books, countless forgotten crews died screaming inside burning bombers, their stories lost to the Pacific waves or the firestorms of Tokyo and Osaka. The numbers are staggering. By war's end, over 500 B-29s were lost in combat. Tens of thousands of crewmen perished. Many never had funerals, their remains scattered in the skies or swallowed by the sea. The Superfortress had fulfilled its mission. It helped end the war. But for the men inside, the cost was unimaginable. Every takeoff was a gamble, every mission a brush with hell, and for too many, that gamble ended in fire, smoke, and silence. When the war finally ended in September 1945, surviving B-29 crews returned home, but home was never the same. Some staggered off the ships, gaunt and haunted, clutching medals they felt they hadn't earned. Others returned to empty towns, carrying the knowledge that their best friends had vanished forever. Nightmares plagued them. The deafening roar of engines, the crack of flak, the screams of dying comrades replayed in their heads. Many never spoke about it. The psychological scars ran deep. Veterans described waking up drenched in sweat, convinced they were back over Tokyo, about to be shot down. Some drank heavily. Some couldn't hold jobs. The war had ended, but the horrors of the B-29 lived on inside them. And then there were the silences. Thousands of families received nothing but telegrams, missing in action. No bodies, no graves, just silence. Mothers and fathers lived their whole lives not knowing what truly happened to their sons. Strategically, the B-29 changed everything. It brought Japan to its knees, reshaped warfare with the dawn of nuclear weapons, and set the stage for the Cold War. But its victories were built on the broken bodies and shattered minds of the crews who flew them. Today, the B-29 is remembered in museums and history books as a symbol of American might. But for those who were there, it was not glory they remembered. It was fear. The long freezing missions, the sudden bursts of fire, the empty bunks after each raid. Perhaps the most haunting truth of all is this. The deadliest weapon wasn't the bombs they carried. It was the silence of those who never returned. So the next time you see a gleaming B-29 in a museum hangar, remember, it is not just a machine. It is a tomb. and within its walls echo the voices of thousands of young men lost to history who never came home.